Say to stop bringing them hits. 2020, we gon' listen real quick. Come choo choo and listen. Come choo choo and listen. Come choo choo and listen. Say they come choo choo and listen. Come choo choo and listen. Let's get it. Come choo choo and
Hey, 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 what's up? What's up? This is your girl, Sadie Star, and I am in the building on today. I want to send a shout out to all my people out there that's listening. Thank you guys for tuning in on today. I know it's been a lot that's been going on, as far as with the Bill Cosby thing and all types of stuff. Just like social media is just blowing up right now. So, my input, that I just want to break some stuff down real quick, just to let the people know out there that, okay, as far as with Bill Cosby, now I look at his case and I see all types of, people saying this and saying that about how they feel about him getting out of prison or out of jail or whatever. Well, my input on the Bill Cosby case is, I don't know, it's just a lot that basically we was all surprised that he got out of jail. That's one of the things. And two is, I look at the fact that with the case, a lot of people didn't bring enough evidence to convict him of actual crime. And with that, you have to really if they run everything down and say, okay, this is what happened. We got evidence on this and evidence on that. But from what I was looking at, I didn't see too much evidence on anything. So, and I just look at how a lot of people, how they would take that, and especially when it comes to Black people, they'll take that and they'll give their opinion about a certain situation. But when it comes to, let's say, the Caucasian community, it's like you don't hear much that's being said about when stuff is being done on the other end. And I think that we should look at everything when it comes to just different cases like that. We shouldn't just look at one case and say, oh, and then look at the other case and just sweep it under the rug. We should talk about it and be able to, just look at things a little different. And when I say look at things a little different, meaning to have more evidence on what you're talking about. And I just think that us as people, we real quick to judge, even when we don't see facts in front of our face. We real quick to judge a thing. So I just want us to just get to the point where we don't judge as much like like what we're used to doing. We're used to judging. We're used to throwing people under the bus. My thing is, if you're gonna judge, always come with the facts. Always come with the evidence to know that you know what you're talking about. Now I look at Bill Cosby case, and I look at the R. Kelly, and it's like, and then I look at you hear a lot of things in the media that's been said about that, but you don't hear anything about Charlie Sheen. You don't hear anything that's said about Elvis Presley. When he was dating young girls that was teenagers, but you don't hear people talking about that. You don't hear people talking about Charlie Sheen, how he spreaded HIV to all these different women. I think that's crazy. So I think that if we, and that was facts, but when we should come with more facts when it comes to anything. And I think we are our worst enemy. I'm talking about the Black community, because we judge each other and we talk about each other in such a bad way. It's crazy. And we should have, just like I said, have more facts, and whatever you're going to talk about, just have more facts. If they would have brought more evidence and would have said, okay, he did this to this lady, did that, and I would have been like, that's but I think it did come to a point where it was like two women. I think they did have evidence on that one. And I think that and he did say that he did drug them. And with that is like it do put brings on a distrust as at a certain point where you're like, wow, like you actually did somebody like that, like how could I trust you now, because Bill Cosby was like, oh my God, he was like the father of the fathers when it came to the black community, because he taught the black community a lot of different things as far as like how to sit at the dinner table with your family. um, he also taught the black community how to be entrepreneurs, how to be doctors, how to be lawyers and stuff. So he brought a lot of good things to the table. But it's like when you is at the point of you drugging women and stuff, that right there brings a pause on everything. And it's like, okay, you brought good values, you said good things, and you taught us this and you taught us that, but then you turn around and you did that. But it's like when you look at it, it's like, in our life we all have done wrong. We all, fell short of something in our life. And I'm just not the type of person that's real quick to judge. But I do know and I do believe that it was two women that he did confess about drugging, and which is totally bad, because nobody should be drugging nobody. And it's like, and that do put like a pause on a lot of different things and make you look at a person different. Like, if you did this to that person, who else did you do it to? But I just feel like when we as a community, when we are judging a certain person or a certain group, we shouldn't let a lot of things slide that's been getting been I mean that's been slide I mean that's been pushed under the table, basically pushed under the table or swept under the rug. I think we should look at everything and be able to give our own opinions on everything that comes, especially in the media. Like I said, then you get on R. Kelly. And I believe with the R. Kelly case, I truly believe that a lot of the parents had a lot of, to do, had a lot of things, had a lot going on with that situation. I believe that they most definitely were involved in the R. Kelly case as well, because you can't tell me that you have a 15-year-old daughter, or maybe a 14 or a 16, and you don't know where they at, 17 too, you don't know where they at. And it just didn't sound right. Like if your daughter not coming home, that's a problem, because I believe in, kids should be kids. You should never rush your child. You should never have to pay your child off to do anything. And I believe that a lot of parents push their child onto him because they wanted something out of it. And that's just something that I just don't agree with. Like, I have a daughter, and I would never push my daughter off on a grown man. I think that's like really disgusting. I believe in, letting kids be kids and letting them enjoy their lives. And I just believe in, every child, every girl, every boy should keep their sanity. And when you push, especially as a parent, when you push your child off into something as such as that, I think that's a disgrace. And I think us as parents, we have to look at life a little bit different, and do things a little bit more different. Love your child a little bit more harder than what you do, because certain things your child shouldn't be out there doing. And you should know where your child is at all times. You shouldn't be oh, my daughter over there hanging with a grown man. Why is your daughter hanging with a grown man? You should you should know your child at all times. Or, even if you do know, why is your child over a grown man house when you know things can happen? And then when it come out, then when it come down to it, now you got different people that's involved, and they saying, okay, I'm gonna report you. Now they want to say, oh, but he did this, or he took my child from me, or he kidnapped my child. All the time you knew where your child was at. So as far as with the R. Kelly case, I think that the parents should be questioned as well, because you cannot tell me that you don't know where your child is at. I know kids, they do certain things and they very sneaky, but if you're not involved in your child life, you would never know. But if you the type of parent that's going to be involved anyway, even if your child don't want you to, then I think that because some parents get to the point where they don't want to be nosy in their kids' life, like they want to get their kids them give them their own space, and I don't agree with that. I think every parent should be nosy when it comes to your child. Like me, for instance, my phone. Whatever my daughter is typing on her phone, whatever what type of picture she's taking, if she's on social media, if she has anything like, um, just like my daughter, she went and got her an email address. She's only 13. What do you need an email address at the age of 13? Why? Why do you need an email address? I just don't agree with that. So I let her know. Listen, I know you got an email address. Everything she texts to her friends, it goes directly to my phone. If her friends call her, my phone is going to ring as well. So I have it set up to where I'm all in my kids' business. Like, I'm nosy. I want to know what's going on with my child. And just like my son, I have an older son, which is 19 years old. And with him, he's at the point where he doesn't want me knowing anything about his life because he feel like I've been in his life so long and I was nosy for so long that he want to have his own space, and which is cool with me. But the thing is, when you involve in your kids, like even if you did a good job, but sometimes that make you feel like, okay, like you was just too involved, you was too strict on me, and they trying to throw the guilt trip off on you to make it seem like you was just this bad parent because all you wanted to do was protect your child. And and that's how my son is with me. He felt like, you tried to protect me too much, so therefore, I don't want you in my business no more. And which is cool with me, as long as I know I did what I did as a parent to protect my child and to make sure he wasn't hanging with the wrong crowd. Because some parents will let their kids hang with the wrong crowd, like, oh, they'll learn. No, no, you have to stop certain things. If you know that your child is going the wrong way, it's certain things that need to be stopped. And that's one of the things that I did with my child. I made sure that he wasn't hanging with the wrong people. And just to bring it all down, us as parents, that's the type of stuff that we have to do. We have to make sure that our kids is not hanging with the wrong crowd or hanging with somebody that we may accuse of uh, being with our child, or doing things that they shouldn't be doing. That way where your child is at. Like, you have to be nosy, all in their business, all in their room. Don't just let them close the door. Be in their business, be in their phone. So that's how I feel about the R. Kelly case. I feel like the parents was all in it. They was all involved in it. And that's just how I feel about it. Like, people have their own opinions, but I just feel like the parents, they should have known. Even if they didn't know where their child was at, they should have known. When your child coming in 2 or 3 days later and you know where your child is at, that's a problem. And that's just how I feel about that. And I also think about, with Elvis Presley, how, his wife that he married was a young girl. She was a teenager, and he was dating her. You never really heard any negative things about that, because they consider him as the king of pop. So you didn't really hear any negative outpour about that because he was who he was. But, I feel like that right there should have came to the forefront as well. We should stop. We should not stop when it comes to a certain color. Everything should be thrown at the table. That's how I look at it. If a person is doing wrong, we should be able to talk about that. And don't just look at the color of it and say, oh, well, he did it. That was so long ago. Okay, you have Bill Cosby did something. You have different people that did something. I'm not taking up for nothing that I feel like hurt any woman, because I think that's a disgrace before God if you can sit there and hurt a woman. But I also feel like, let's talk about it all. Don't just talk about one or two. Let's not just talk about R. Kelly and Bill Cosby. Let's talk about Charlie Sheen too. Even with him, he spreaded a disease to all these different women, and now they will never ever be able to enjoy their life. Never be able to enjoy all their life, because in their minds they will always think like, man, like I have to live with something that somebody gave to me. And which is crazy. And I just think that he should have been really should have been more out there than anything, than anybody. I think Charlie Sheen name should have been right there. His name should have been at the headline because that right there is so wrong. And it's just like so many other celebrities that have done things, and you'll talk about it for a couple of days, and then you don't hear about it no more. But it's like with the R. Kelly case and with the Bill Cosby case, that's something that we continue to keep hearing. You know, even when he went to jail 3 years ago, we still hear it. Even though R. Kelly went to jail, I think it was 2 years ago, we still hearing about it. And I'm not saying let's close our mouth, because if you hurt somebody's kids, or if you hurt a woman, or if you drugged anybody, that should go on. But let's not just stop talking about one thing and I talk about the other. And that's just how I feel about it. So many people have, just done a whole bunch of crazy stuff that we don't really talk about, especially when it comes to color. And we should talk about it all. That's all I'm saying. And, I just feel bad for the women that was involved and have to live with the hurt and the pain, because we don't know the things that people go through. Like with me, I dealt with that, with someone touching me as a kid. And, it hurted me because, this was somebody that was considered close to my mother, which was her boyfriend. So I know how it feels to be ripped from your privacy, ripped from your sanity, when a person just come in and they touch you in a certain way, especially as a kid. Because I was a little girl, and I still remember that to this day. I was a baby, and I didn't understand what was going on. I didn't know what was going on. I just knew that this man was doing something that he had no business doing. And when he was, doing the things that he was doing to me, he made it seem like it was my fault. Like, okay, if you tell your mother, you're gonna get a whooping. And I'm looking like, in my child man, I'm like, why would I get a whooping? And I'm okay, so I'm not gonna say nothing, because I'm like, if I say something, my mama gonna whoop me. And that's just how I felt. And we just got to get to the point as people, we have to start talking to our kids, especially our babies, when they're so young. You have to question things, and we shouldn't get too comfortable with letting different men under our kids, because a person can smile in your face and can be a total different person days later. You like, if you don't know a person, you just don't know them. Like, you have to really discern the person from afar off. That's what I do. I just sit back and I look at everything, because you really don't know the type of people that can be on you if your heart is in their heart. Like, that's why it's not good to get that attached or close to anybody. I always know what's coming up on you, and always be aware of your surroundings, especially our babies, our kids, because they'll grow up with that stuff in them. And I remember I was looking at one video with R. Kelly, and it was saying that he was molested as a child. So it's like basically hurt people, kind of sort of like going in that direction. Hurt people do hurt people. So, but that person was hurt before, they'll turn around and try to hurt somebody else. But it's like, with me, even though I was touched as a child, I'm not gonna turn around and do something like that, because my heart is so pure and it's so genuine, and it's like, I don't want to see nobody hurt. And I just feel like, even with like the R. Kelly case, by him being molested as a child, he should have said in his mind, okay, I'm going to be a protector. I'm going to make sure I protect, my kids or my grandkids or whoever else coming to my life. Like, he should have been that protector, far as to not even let anything come that close to their child. So it's like, us as people, I just feel so, bad for the victims. And, it's like they probably, in their minds, they have to relive their whole thing over again. I know when I was younger, I was afraid to tell my mother, because I felt like she was going to whoop me. And I just felt like she was going to whoop me, and she, was going to, look at me different, even though it wasn't my fault. I was a little girl. I didn't know anything about that. And So when my mother found out, because my brother walked in and saw him touching me, so my mother found out, um, she was very upset, and I remember her kind of like beating him up, her boyfriend up at the time because he did that to me. Um, he was just basically, putting his hands in places he should not been putting his hands, basically. And I just remember my mother, was like, she beat him up and he left or whatever, and they stopped talking for a while. And I remember him coming right back over there. It wasn't that long that he was right back there. And I remember as a little girl kind of like shielding myself. And that's why I came to the point in my life where I didn't trust men or trust too many people, period. Because I was like, and it still bothers me to this day because my mom passed away. And this happened, I had to be at least like 5 or 6 years old. I was a little girl. But I remember I had to sit here and look at this man that touched me. I was like, wow. So I just remember just going in my room and just getting in a quiet space in my room and just talking to God, like, God, like, why is this even, why am I going through this? Like, I just remember that. And it just put me in a place where I just didn't trust nobody no more. So by me not trusting people no more, I grew up with that in me. I grew up not trusting nobody. And that's exactly how I feel. I even tell my kids to this day, have anybody ever touched you before? Have anybody ever touched you? If they do, tell me. Because nobody should be putting their hands on you. I tell my 13-year-old child that. I tell my 16-year-old child that. Even when my oldest son was, that age, I would tell him the same exact thing. If anybody touch you, let me know. So, yeah, and that's just how that goes. Like, you have to really be a protector when it comes to your kids and really know who's around them. And I hate that I had to grow up with that in me because I feel like my mother should have protected me more. And I just feel like that should have been somebody that should have never ever came back into her life. And she let him back in, but eventually they ended up breaking up for good. But I just felt like at that moment when she knew about that, I felt like that whole relationship should have been cut off, and it wasn't. I don't know what actually led to their breakup, but I just felt at that moment right there, it should have been cut completely off, and that's just how I feel about it. So, with that being said, I just feel like we should be protectors of our kids. And, if you run into anybody like that, that person should not be around your child. You should cut them off immediately and make sure they butt is in jail. Especially if you saw your child come and tell you anything like that, they should be under the jail. And that's just how I feel about that. But yeah, it's just amazing how life can really be. It's amazing how your life can be like this, and then it can just, go a total different way the next day. And, I just grew up to be a protector of myself because my mother, when she passed away, I didn't really have, even though I had siblings in my life, but I had to protect my own self. And by doing that, I just didn't get involved with too many things. Like, I was one of the type of girls, like, I was kind of like laid back, and I didn't like, get involved in like bad things like that because I feel like I was around bad things all my life coming up as a child. So certain things I didn't want to do. Certain people I didn't want to meet. Like, I didn't want to meet nobody that was like my brothers. I didn't want to meet anybody that was like, my mother boyfriend. I tried to keep myself just kind of distance from a lot of different things, if you get what I'm saying. So with that being said, And I just pray that everybody would just come to the point in their life where, um, start telling your kids, like, if anything bad have happened to you in your childhood life, I think that's something that should be shared with your child. Because I share things like that. I talk to my daughter and I share things with her to let her know, listen, I'm like this for a reason because of what I went through. And a part of me is damaged from that. And I don't want you to be damaged because I was damaged and I'm still damaged. And I grew up being a damaged young lady. And I don't want you to be like that. I want you to be better than me. I want you to succeed better than me. I want you to just go and just do you and just be happy and live a wonderful life and meet great people, people that you can trust. Because I hate the fact that I had to grow up not trusting nobody. I never want to really live my life like that, but I did, and I am, and that's something that I'm not um, so happy about. But things happen, and us as people just have to really just be able to pray about things and to ask God to cleanse our hearts and cleanse our souls. But and it just all comes down all together with the R. Kelly and the Bill Cosby and the Charlie Sheen and all these people that I'm naming and the Elvis Presleys. They were damaged people that somebody eventually damaged them, and we just damage people that really need a release in their life, as far as talking about different things that you have been through in life. And it took me to be strong at this point in my life that I can really sit down and talk about stuff like this. And I just really want to see everybody that's damaged to be undamaged, as I can say, because I'm trying to undamage my life. Um so yeah, I'm at a happy place right now where I could say things have gotten better than what they are. Because before I was like just always sad and unhappy because the things that went on in my life to make me broken and that led me to be damaged. So it's like now in my life, right now, right here, it's like I can truly say that I'm starting to see the sunshine again because I lived in a life where I feel like a cloud was just following me everywhere I was going. And it's like now I can actually smile. I haven't really smiled in a long time, and nothing really moved me, nothing really made me laugh but now I'm in a place where my life is beginning to unravel in a source because in a sort of type thinking where I'm not, my life is not balled up like a piece of paper no more. Like, it's like when I don't know, like a butterfly, you know, now their wings are starting to come out. Everything is starting to look beautiful. And that's how I feel about me. Like everything, my mind, my soul, my spirit, everything is starting to be refreshed because I don't want to live a damaged life anymore. And that's why I said, you know, I feel bad for the victims that was involved, but and I can't say who was telling the truth and who was not telling the truth when it came to both cases, but I just feel like if we're going to judge something, I always have facts. If we're going to judge a thing, I always know what we're talking about. Now, when the case was going on with Bill Cosby, I looked at it, but I didn't get too in depth with it. So I can't really speak on certain things because I don't want to put the wrong information out there. But when it comes to his case, you know, it kind of put a pause on me because I really hate to look at him in that type of way, because he was like the father of the black communities. He taught us certain things. When the Bill Cosby show came on, you felt good to see different characters, and it's like wow, this is how he really is. So it kind of put a pause on certain things, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I'm not here to judge, only God can judge. So, and I just give it to God and I just let God do what he do in the whole situation. So yeah, but that's all I want to really talk about, guys. And I thank you for tuning in to WSWT Radio. And I just ask you guys to go out and support us. Go to Step North Go, click on WSWT Radio, and don't forget to click that heart to let me know that you are listening to my station. I truly, truly appreciate all the love, all the support. And I just ask you guys, download the app. It's free. Free of charge. You don't have to pay for anything. So I will see you guys later, and peace out. This is your girl Sadie Star, and I am out of here. Peace. Oh, that's so low. Peace out.